We have to believe in the heart of the card.
And I will always love you.
Yes!
Great, have another battle. This one's a bit long-winded. It's about 60 turns, I believe. But it's not long in the sense that a few videos ago, I think it was the second video of this session, it's not long in that sense where it's kind of stally, because I figure this one, it's long, but it's I wouldn't say action-packed, but for lack of a better word, action-packed pretty much the whole way through. I was actually really proud of this game. I think it was a very, very well done game, at least on my part. You can argue that my opponent was a bit easy to read, but I found I played very well enough that it makes the battle very interesting to watch, in my opinion. It made a lot of double switches, and pretty much all my predictions were on point, and I really enjoyed it. I honestly haven't had a battle that was this good for quite some time. So if you watch any of my other battles, and if you enjoyed any of my other battles, you'll most likely enjoy this one, because I certainly did. My opponent was a bit of a douche, but I didn't realize he was a douche until the end when I talked to him a little bit. So yeah, I really enjoyed this battle. Going over it, my team, I didn't realize it until now, I suppose. But I've got a fairly large ice weakness on my team. Pretty much 2/3 of my defensive core, Togetic and Vileplume, which are my things that are supposed to be meant to take hits, are both weak to ice. And Bastiodon, which is the only ice resist, it has two 4x weaknesses. So anything that has stab ice moves with either ground or fighting coverage moves do a number on this team, especially Sneasel, because Sneasel can low-kick Bastiodon, Ice Punch these two things, Pursuit Trap Haunter, outspeed and out-prioritize Fletchinder with Ice Shard, which is neutral because Ice and Fire. So yeah, it does a number to this team. Luckily I haven't really run into any of those, they haven't given me any trouble, but looking at his team, looks like his defensive core is between these three Pokemon right here. That's obviously going to be physically defensive Avalugg, most likely going to be specially defensive Cradilly, and just, I guess, a mixed wall Dusknoir in between. That's most likely going to be Scarfed Primeape, and that's looking to be either Specs or Assault Vest, because that's the most common, and this, well, there's quite a few sets with those, but I know from experience that's Haunter, Okos, pretty much any set with Sludge Wave, because Haunter is a monster. Primeape could give my team troubles, and specially defensive Cradilly has always given my team troubles. And as I mentioned with Ice, Avalugg will most likely be giving my team trouble. If it carries Avalanche and EQ, which is the most common set, it'll give Bastiodon trouble, because Bastiodon won't be able to wall it very efficiently. And I'm assuming that for this game I will have to rely on dealing with Primeape being Scarfed and working around me assuming it's Scarfed. So I'm going to lead with Fletchinder, assuming he leads with the Scarfed Primeape for the old U-turn shenanigans, and that works out perfectly because that prediction pays off. I go for the natural gift here, expecting the Avalugg, making the over predictions first turn, and I get the prediction right, but that does absolutely nothing, so the prediction does not work whatsoever. Just going to switch out here to Togetic, because even though it's super effective, Togetic is a monster. And if I can get a burn with Tri-Attack, it's not going to be a threat. I can Roost, and Avalanche won't be super effective. Goes for the Toxic here, and that's actually very good to know, because he obviously has Recover and Rapid Spin. So if he has Avalanche and Toxic, Bastiodon is a nice stop to it. So the bit of scouting there is worth getting the Toxic on, because I will be able to get rid of that Toxic with Vileplume. I get the switch in this turn and Aromatherapy off the Toxic. I am faster. Avalanche does quite a chunk, but this is a Vileplume. Vileplume is a beast. And Avalug's special defense is fairly lackluster, so I am able to deal a sizable chunk to the Avalug right there. If he stayed in and let me Sludge Bomb, I'm pretty sure that would kill. And if I killed the Avalug, my team would be in a very good position. But he goes into Behem. I don't know if that's a Assault Vest. I'm going to say probably not. And judging by that damage, it's possible that that's Analytic Specs, but I'm not entirely sure. So in comes the Avalug. Library. I really should have copycatted. I was tempted to copycat, but I'm like, oh, if he's a Assault Vest, that's not going to do much. So a bit of a bad play on my part, but make up for it by switching into Haunter on the Toxic. And Haunter, like I said, does a number on his team. I'm just going to trick expecting the Cradilly, and another prediction pays off very nicely for me because I'm going to be able to Scarf the Cradilly, and that's his special wall completely crippled. He's going to Mirror Coat, expecting me to, I guess, stay in and keep attacking, and of course I don't. So the other thing I realized was Fletchinder also completely deals with his team. The only thing that can take pretty much any hits is Avalug, and of course the Dusknoir, as you just saw. But Dusknoir does not take it nicely, and Avalug doesn't take it very nicely at +2 either. So he goes for the Haze, and then of course goes after for the Toxic. The Haze doesn't matter because I just get to +2 next turn and go and kill it after. Avalug would be 2 KO'd in this range, so if I had to switch in, it wouldn't work very well. However, like I said, Fletchinder is going to be very vital for this battle because it can kill the Primate and kill the Executor if need be. So that's the thing. So I switch into Vileplume, expecting something else, but that prediction does not pay off as he goes into Executor. I'm going to go into Liepard, expecting the Psyshock, which is what he goes for, and I'm going to Encore him into the Psyshock. Now, obviously, he's not going to stay in, so I make a bit of a risky play and go back into Vileplume, which is pretty nice because he goes into Cradilly, and I am able to completely heal off all the damage that I've received in exchange for him being able to set up Stealth Rocks, which is a bit of a disappointment, because I will have to get rid of those if I don't want to get completely wrecked. But he does have to take more damage onto his Behem, and just the more that I look at it, the more it seems that it is locked into that, and it does quite a lot with Signal Beam, which is resisted and non-stab. I'm willing to say it's Analytic Specs, but I'm not entirely sure. He's going to switch. Rock Blast misses. I miss pretty much every Rock Blast this game. I go for Sleep Talk just to because I wanted to be cheeky. I wanted him to go to Sleep Powder and then me go for the Sleep Talk just to be cheeky. And of course that doesn't work out. He goes for Giga Drain, which is the correct move because it's neutral, whereas the Psychic move would be resisted. So I guess a bit of a bad play on my part. And Psyshock does quite a lot more than I expected it to Togetic, because if he's got Leech Seed, I'm expecting him to not be offensive, and I still don't think that was offensive, but did quite a lot more than I expected. So I'm going to go into Bastiodon here on the Psychic move, and I'm going to double straight into Haunter, expecting the Leech Seed, because I wanted to bait the Leech Seed, because I did want to get a free switch into Haunter, because like I said, he's got no switch-ins to Haunter now that his Cradilly is Scarfed. So every time Cradilly comes in, it's going to be taking some damage, and it's not going to be able to heal off that damage, which is good news for me. I'll be able to switch out here, and I go into Togetic. If he wants to set up rocks, I will be able to defog those. However, he does have the Primeape, and it reveals that it is indeed Defiant. I do, however, definitely need to keep my Togetic alive. I go into Vileplume in case he has Stone Age, but he actually has the Ice Punch. I do get the effects for, and let's just take a moment to appreciate it. That was a +2 super effective Ice Punch, which is crazy. So I go right out into Bastiodon as my only Ice Resist, because he is definitely locked into that, which is perfectly fine. I am just going to click Curse, because I might as well. If I get a couple curses under my belt, I'll be able to take close combat from the Primeape. So I thought I might as well try, because you'd have to take one turn to switch out and one turn to switch back in if you wanted to do that. At +2, it's possible that I would be able to take some hits, but not that I'd want to. I missed the second Rock Blast, and the Giga Drain also does quite a lot, so the more times I see how much damage this does, the more I believe that that is offensive Executor just happening to have Leech Seed as well, which is a bit interesting, because I'm fully specially defensive, so just going to get all my health back, and then I'm going to switch right into Haunter. His health on Credilli is slowly dwindling. There's the Sludge Wave, as I said. From experience, Sludge Wave pretty much always OHKOs Executor, regardless of the spread. Scarf Primate comes in, and as I said, I definitely need Haunter, so I'm going to go into Bastiodon as he goes for Ice Punch, and I resist that quite nicely. He is going to switch out into Behem, and I'm actually going to pull a double into Togetic, which wasn't the double that I was expecting him to go into Behem, but I wasn't expecting Psyshock to do quite that much. As I said, that is most likely looking to be analytic specs, especially if that Psyshock does 30%. I could be wrong about that, but it's definitely analytic, but I'm under the impression that it's all those specs. So this is the first and only Rock Blast I hit this game, which is just a little bit funny. Rock moves are terribly, terribly inaccurate. I'm going to go into Togetic as he goes for a Scarf Giga Drain, but Togetic is so damn bulky, and Credilli is not very powerful that it only does 5%, and I am able to roost pretty much all of it off, which is very nice. Avalugg comes in. I'm going to go into Bastiodon as he just goes for an attacking move, and I'm actually going to pull a double here, expecting him to switch out of his Avalugg, because there's no reason for him to keep the Avalugg in. And basically, right now, every time Haunter comes in, pretty much every time Haunter gets a free switch, something dies, as long as it's not in on Primeape. He wants to keep that alive for sure. Or, Credilli takes a sizable chunk of damage is the other option as well, of course. So I'm going to go into Fletchinder here. If he wants to set up rocks, I want to go in before rocks, but he actually goes for the Mirror Coat, expecting me to try to just finish him off, which is definitely a fair play. I go for Swords Dance here, which is a bit of a bad move on my part, because it does absolutely nothing for me, because I am going to have to switch, because Avalugg can take that hit. Not nicely, I will admit, but it can take that hit, and with the Toxic on me, I will probably die after Avalanche to Toxic damage, so I'm hoping to be able to get rid of the status first. Actually stay in this turn, expecting him to predict me to double into Haunter, because I've been doing that quite a few times, and then the second turn after he thinks, oh, he's not going to switch, that's when I pull the double into Haunter, which works out beautifully for me as he tries to pull into Behem, and like I said, something has to die every time Haunter comes in. Credilli has outlived its usefulness of being able to survive hits, and the Credilli goes down. Brings in the Primeape here, and I am going to switch into Vileplume, as I'm predicting the Bastiodon switch was too obvious, because I've been doing that way too many times, so I did go into Vileplume. He's actually going to forfeit here, but I'm going to explain why the game was pretty much over anyway. He went for close combat. I was going to because he went for close combat, I was going to double straight back into Haunter, and there's absolutely nothing he could do about that, because even if he knew I was going to switch back into Haunter, which he probably would know, but he didn't, I don't know, he could have just stayed in. Even if he knew I was going to switch into Haunter, there's nothing he can do, because whatever he could do to react to that would not be able to deal with Haunter. If he wanted to double, I would still outspeed whatever he brought in, and pretty much OHKO it at the range that it was at. Avalugg would die, Behem would die. I don't think Avalugg would even be able to kill Haunter, because I was at a decent amount of HP, so I would have gotten a free kill right there. He would have had to go straight back into Primeape. I would be able to sack off my Vileplume. He would be taking an additional 12% from poison damage, and whatever he went for, I would either be able to go into Bastiodon or into Haunter, or as a matter of fact, into Fletchinder. And he would have to then switch out of that, and I would be able to kill something from. Well, let's say I bring in Bastiodon, and he switches into Avalugg. That's perfectly fine. He brings an Avalugg. I can start cursing up because every time he just kills something, I can bring something in on his primate to threaten him out. And it would just get to the point where I have more Pokemon to sack than he does. Every time Haunter comes in, I would be able to kill something, and basically, there's no other way to say it. But that was definitely in my game. But no, this guy was a bit of a douche. I don't remember what it was, but like I think I said something to him. I think it was I said GG to him, and he's like, yeah, whatever. And that's a big pet peeve for that's a big pet peeve for me when people just say, yeah, whatever. It annoys me more than if people would swear at me. Like if someone comes up to me and says, oh, fuck you, that annoys me less than if somebody says, yeah, whatever, when I'm talking to them. Because at least when someone swears, they're engaged in the conversation. When someone says, yeah, whatever, they just couldn't care less to be in the moment of what you're doing. That really annoys me. But, like I said, I didn't notice he was a douche until the end of the battle when I said GG. But either way, it was a very good game, and I really enjoyed this game. I think my predictions were on point, and it's one of the best games I've had in the past little while.